We're on 7 platforms every morning, and we'd like to, welcome each and every one of you wherever you're watching this morning. So we're going to talk about the voice, the human voice today, okay? And it's very important that you know this because not too many people know it this way, know their voice this way. Your voice can heal you. So what happens is when you use vocalization in a certain way with pressure, okay, with a lot of pressure, what happens is it fires oxytocin and endorphins. Okay, so what happens is you start to create this hormonal chemistry in your brain by the tones that you're singing, okay? And what happens is a calming inside, okay? Your mind begins to calm. Good morning, guys. Good morning, good morning. How are you guys doing? Okay. So, we're gonna wait on this side for the chat, and we're waiting for we have one of our platforms is having some kind of difficulty for some reason. I don't know why that is. Good morning, Vic. Yeah, I don't know why we're having difficulty on this side over here. But oh, there she is. Good morning, Sarah. There she is. Okay, so slowly everybody's coming. I don't know why we're having problems on this side, but anyway, so let's get on with it now. Vocalization, okay, is not merely a form of communication. Okay, so when we say affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, the vocalization part that we do with our clients is to have them express tones very strongly. This triggers the hormones, okay? It triggers oxytocin and endorphins. It lowers cortisol levels, the fight or flight chemicals in your brain, okay? And these hormones actually replace those. And what happens is you start to feel good, okay? Now, it's not just like you feel good in the moment. With repetitive cycles of this, it starts to change your life, literally change your life. And you can read the stories. They're on our reviews. Our reviews are on Here For You Life Coaching on Google. All you need to do is search Here For You Life Coaching and then Honolulu, Hawaii. I'm in Hawaii. So somatic healing, what is it? It's an approach to emotional and psychological well-being that works through the body, not just the mind, okay? Because your body stores tension. Your body, your physical body stores tension and trauma, okay? Because all cells have memory. Okay, I'm going to try to explain it as simply as I can. So I'm looking at my notes and I'm kind of translating into breaking it down into more simpler forms. But trauma and stress, if you undergo stress, okay, day to day, like you have a really stressful job, maybe you have a stressful relationship, okay. A lot of women come to me because their relationship is like over in their minds, okay, but they're still in it and they're undergoing stress every day. Well, this vocalization process breaks them free of it. And then they're like, "Oh, wow, okay." And then they get confident and then they can make a decision. They can actually leave the relationship or do whatever it is that needs to be done. Okay? But your body stores these things. And why is this not good? Because when you start storing trauma, you start storing stress. You start storing stress. Okay? What happens is your body starts to act out in illness. Okay? And when you're suppressed, okay? So when people come to me, they're like this. Okay? They're like this. My job is to take them from here, to relax them here, and open like that. Okay? And that's exactly what happens. But it happens through the voice. Okay? So we have affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization. Okay? But the vocalization is what we're talking about today. Okay? So all of this stress and trauma gets stored in your nervous system and your muscle memory. You ever see something that startles you and all of a sudden you tense up like that? Okay? That's your muscles. Okay? Your nervous system triggers your muscles and your muscles tighten. Okay? And you get that, this one client I had last year, she's an attorney. I coach executives and she's an attorney. She's at the top of her game in one of the largest businesses in Hawaii. And one of her complaints, she told me, well, I have chest pain when I get through the day. At the end of the day, I have chest pain when I go home. And I asked her and I said, well, how long have you had chest pain? She said, I've always had it. Okay. And then she told me later, like a couple of sessions later, she told me, she said, I've been working from fear. Fear has been my motivation because I don't want to be poor. Okay. And she actually believed this. Now, this is subconscious. Okay. We deal with subconscious training and subconscious reprogramming. But this is what she believed to be true. Okay. She believed that if she did not keep pushing, she was going to be poor. Okay. Now, that's not true. Okay. That kind of thinking is very detrimental for your health. It's detrimental for your career. It's just not good for you, period. Okay. But high performance anxiety looks just like motivation. So some of these people that you see, they have big, important jobs, and they're always going. I see these ladies, right? They're, oh yeah, I gotta go. And they're doing what they call, hustling, which is just a lot of work, thing to thing, right? But it's high performance anxiety that they have. Okay, because inside, they're like this inside. Okay, they don't feel it like that. Okay, but that adrenaline, that energy, okay, it's all rooted in fear. And if your energy is rooted in fear, or your motivation is actually fear, okay, high performance anxiety looks just like motivation. And you think, wow, yeah, these guys got it all together, and they're going from thing to thing, and they're so like busy. I just had a client like that. He came to me for something else. He came to me for public speaking. And so I was teaching him public speaking. I was developing his voice and teaching him public speaking. But he had high performance anxiety, and he didn't even know it. And I didn't say anything because it's kind of awkward to tell somebody, you have high performance anxiety, and I can help you with that. Okay. It's kind of difficult. Okay. That's almost like if you tell somebody, oh, I can help you with your voice. They think you're saying something's wrong with their voice, right? So I have to wait, and I have to wait till they come to me. But anyway, this is a characteristic of high achievers, high performance achievers. Okay? It's called high performance anxiety. Look it up. It's a thing. But what we do is we get rid of it. Okay? And I got rid of her chest pain, my client. I got rid of her chest pain. It took me about 3.5 months. Okay? But that's not a long time. Okay? If I were to ask her, like, how much would you pay, right? How much would you pay to get rid of this, because she used to put her hand here every time something bad happened. She'd go like this. And I told her, I said, you're putting it on your chest. You're doing this. You're directing your stress like this. Okay? Because your body gives you away. Your body language gives you away. Okay? She didn't understand that. But she's an attorney. She does something else, right? She's an attorney. That's what she does. And then I took it away in 3.5 months, and she's like, wow, yeah. So the first month, it was like a little bit less. Second month, a little bit less. Third month, gone. About 3.5 months, gone. Okay? So somatic healing means that you work on getting all of this stuff out of your body. Okay? And you can do it through your voice. Okay, so you can do it other ways too. So you can do breath work, right? We teach breathing. We teach breath work as well. Okay? And you can do it by body awareness. Okay? All that is like tapping. When you tap, tap, stuff like that. Okay, body awareness. All you're doing is calling attention to here, calling attention to here, calling attention to that kind of thing. It doesn't work as good as the voice. But the voice functions as a powerful somatic healing tool. Okay, I've healed tons and tons of people emotionally. So this works on your emotions, okay, because you have to feel better. Okay, you have to feel better. You have to feel clear. Okay, and your voice does this. But these are straight tones that we do, but we do them with velocity, with strength. Okay, so if you think of Nikola Tesla, right? He said, to understand the universe, think of in terms of energy, frequency, vibration. All we add to that is velocity. And I was doing this by mistake. Before I did my research, I did my research in 2007. Okay, and before I did my research, I saw these little kids get super confident, and I didn't know what was doing it. And so when I did my research in 2007, I was like, oh wow, this is what it is. Okay, I was diving into like, it went into quantum physics, string theory, everything I could think of to link this vibrational occurrence together, and to see like, okay, what is this really? What's the foundation of this? Where does it go back to? We are vibrational beings, okay? Every cell in your body is vibrating. So you have that individual vibration at the cellular level, but you have an emotional vibration, okay, at the emotional level. With your emotions, you have an emotional vibration. So when we say you have a high vibration, what we're talking about is good mood, okay? So all the positive feelings, the good feelings, are rooted in love. So let me read some for you. I have a list over here on my iPad that's mounted. So love, peace, gratitude, joy, passion, excitement, enthusiasm, hope, and satisfaction. So when you're in a state of satisfaction, you're on your way towards love. Okay, when you're satisfied, like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm good. You see, like that, you're satisfied. Now, the highest vibration is love. The lowest vibration is fear. Okay, so first, the first signs of you're headed to fear is worry. Okay, so you're worried about something, and you think about it over and over. Okay, what's the danger of worrying? Well, it goes into your subconscious. The danger is not necessarily that thing that you're worrying about, but it's worry, period. Why? Because your subconscious will learn to worry. In general, I had a great uncle like that, my grandfather's brother. He was a worrier. He used to worry about everything. Just everything you could think of. That's all he would talk about, because it went into his subconscious and he became the worrier. I've never seen anything like that, but I've never met anybody like my great uncle till today. But that was his thing. He worried about things. Okay, so your subconscious goes, oh, we're worrying? That's what we're doing? Okay, now, yes, you're going to form a program about the thing you're worried about in repetition, but you're also putting worry in repetition. So it's two things at the same time, because humans are highly intelligent. Like, you don't know how highly intelligent you are. Okay, but these things happen. And then what happens? Your subconscious starts to worry about everything. Okay, but worry is the first step. Then there's irritation, disappointment, criticism, anger, hate, boredom, envy, despair, grief, guilt, shame, and fear. When you get to guilt, grief, shame, and fear, okay, and this could be from something that happened like when you were a little kid, something that sticks out. It doesn't necessarily have to be trauma, but trauma is an emotional event that sticks out, okay, really, really big, okay, that you can't forget because it comes back and you get triggered. And when you see something, you get triggered into the memory, because your subconscious memorizes everything. Everything you see, everything you touch, everything you feel, everything you smell, everything you taste. It's all of your senses. Okay, so it's all of your senses. And what happens is, like when you're in the store and you hear the music playing, and you hear an old song, because that's all they play, right? Old songs. You hear an old song and you go, wow, I remember that from high school. Wow, I remember. And then you also have a memory attached to it, right? You remember either where you were or something you were doing when you heard the song, or when you remember the song from. Okay, this is how highly intelligent you are. This is why people have so many problems. But because they don't know about these things, they go, oh, something's really wrong with me. No, nothing's wrong with you. Nothing is wrong with you. You just need to get out of this circle that you're in. Wash, rinse, repeat in the subconscious. That's all. So how does your voice get you out of this. It pulls you out of it. Okay? Because you can't really understand the societal hypnosis, okay, that's affecting you until you get out of it. You can't see it when you're in it. And it's different for everyone. Okay, it's different because everyone's perception is different. There's 8 billion of us on the planet. And every single perception is different. It's a little different. So when you're in a group, let's say you're in a group of 25 people and someone's giving a lecture, all 25 people have a little different picture of what's going on. And this is why effective speakers have to direct their attention. You have to direct an audience. Okay? You have to keep them focused on what it is you're communicating, and that makes an effective speaker. I teach people how to do this all the time. Been teaching public speaking for years and years and years, over 37 years. But here's the thing, okay? When you express to your voice, and this could be like you could be in your car just singing really strong, really loud, roll up the windows, okay, put on the air conditioner, sing really, really strong. At the end of the song, because songs are what, like 4 minutes, 4.5 minutes, something like that, right? 3.5, 4.5 minutes. You're going to feel really good. If you keep doing that, if you do that once a day, and let's say you do, in a half an hour, you could do like 6 songs. If you do it, if you sing like that for half an hour, okay, really, really strong, as a therapeutic thing, not as a recreational thing, but as a therapeutic thing, then you start to calm and you go, wow, yeah, after like 4 times, 4 half hours, okay, if you do, like my clients do an hour a week, if you do it a half hour on the way home from work, and let's say you do it every day for a week, oh man, you will start to raise your awareness. What does that mean? Okay, so when you raise your awareness, the little things you don't notice because you're too busy in here will start to surface. You'll start to see them. Okay? You'll start to become more sensitized instead of desensitized. People are very desensitized today. How does that happen? Well, they have these things, right? They have these guys, okay? And when you're scrolling, you look, oh my God, right? You see? You become desensitized. When you become desensitized, nothing phases you, right? You can look at anything, no matter how bad it is, right? And what do we want to do? We want to see the bad stuff, right? We want to see the bad stuff because the good stuff is boring. It's not exciting. Right? Because when we see the bad stuff, we go, oh my God, I can't believe that happened, right? See? Okay. But it gives you a dopamine hit. It also spikes your adrenaline sometimes, depending on what it is. Good morning, Manuel. So when you become desensitized, you don't have the kind of emotions that you did when you were sensitized or before you got desensitized, because you become numb. Okay? Now, people that, and we were talking about this yesterday about manifestation. Okay? Why is it that societal hypnosis is bad for manifestation? Well, it's bad on many levels. Okay? But this is one of them. When you become numb, when you become desensitized, do you think you can project the feeling necessary to bring what you want into your world? No. No. Your feelings, okay, are the thing that imprints the subconscious. This is why the Indian philosopher Shanakwa said, your feelings are your God. Because how you feel determines what you get. Okay? The law of attraction says like attracts like, but that's just one law. Okay, the law of vibration is the fundamental law. That's the core law. This law of attraction thing, okay, it's good marketing. It's a nice fun thing to watch, and and it is true, but it's about your subconscious. It's not magic. It's not sorcery. It's not witchcraft. Although if you want to, do a little ceremony with it, whatever, it's your subconscious. You're a human being. You have this power. This is why sometimes you get lucky and you think it's luck, right? And sometimes you're not lucky. I mean, that's how you see it. That's your perception. Like, oh, I got lucky. This happened. No, you can be like that all the time. But you need to condition your subconscious. Your subconscious needs to be conditioned like you go to the gym for your muscles. Okay, like you go do a good workout. Okay, this is what a workout looks like for your subconscious. Okay, this is the one I'm doing right now, like this. So it's only a little bit. Right? I've only used a little bit of that one. This is one that's finished. But these are affirmations, okay? This is a workout for your subconscious. This is a mental workout. Okay? This is a mental workout. It's for your subconscious. If you don't exercise your subconscious, it's not as sharp. It doesn't work as fast. Okay? Then you get kind of random results. Like sometimes you might get something and sometimes you might not get something because it's not sharp enough. Or you're not focused enough. Or you didn't make an impression enough, strong enough. So what happens is when you exercise the subconscious, it becomes sensitive. When it becomes sensitive, now you project emotion onto it, okay? Or just energy. You can do energy. Okay, let's say, I don't know, new car. Let's say that, let's say it's that, okay? So just say those things, new car. Use those words, new car, and do it with energy. Go in your bedroom, close the door where nobody is, and yell it into your subconscious, okay? But yeah, yell it in a nice way and not an angry way. But it makes an imprint in your subconscious. People don't realize how sensitive it is, but because we've been desensitized by these things and computers and society and TV commercials and radio commercials and everything that we're drawn to in the physical world. And this is why Jesus said, okay, he said, seek first the kingdom, right? Because the kingdom is within. We're distracted to things out here, and that becomes mammon in biblical understanding. Okay, if you're not a Christian, then it doesn't apply to you. If you're a Christian, it's God and mammon, and you cannot serve both, which means either you believe in here, because God lives in here. God doesn't live out there. There's no out there. It's just nature and things from man's in here. That's all that's out there. But when you understand your strength and your power and how susceptible your subconscious is to direction, it's an order taker. You give your subconscious direction. Then what happens? Then it starts looking for ways for you to achieve things. You don't even have to do all the work. That's why they call it a subconscious. It's underneath your conscious mind. It's working underneath. It's 95% of your life. And it works in repetition, which means that when you put a program or an idea or a goal, all of those things, any of those things, in your subconscious, affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, it starts to work on it for you. And you don't need to know how to do things. Okay, get over that part. Start tuning. If you believe in God, if you believe in higher source, higher self, all of those things, if you believe in that, then you have to know it's in here, in the kingdom. And if you know it's in the kingdom, you have to trust in here. When you trust something in the physical world, it becomes mammon. That's when it becomes mammon. Okay, because there's a lot of Christians that believe in here and everything gets added to them. That's why they say seek the kingdom first and all else will be added unto you. There's a lot of wealthy Christians. Okay, they're not all shady. Some of them are shady, some of them are not, just like anything else, anybody else. But your voice separates you from all of this. Okay? Your voice separates you from the physical world, from the bounding, okay, because you're bound, psychologically, you're bound to the physical world. Because you see it like that. Because you have an understanding And because you live in a physical world, you think that's it. You're witnessing the physical world. You're a witness to the physical world. You're an observer to the physical world. You're watching all of these things, okay? When you're in the computer, when you're in your laptop is your reality. There's a separate world in there. There's a separate world in here. If you're walking down the street and you're looking in here, this is one world, and you're walking in another world. Because these are two separate realities. But your eyes take you into the reality. Then it becomes your reality. So we're not just, we're not just meat suits walking around on the planet. You're a spiritual being. But you have to understand it from that perspective. You're not your body, you're not your name, you're that energy that lives in here. When I discovered that, I was like, whoa. Of course, I was taught that when I was 13. It didn't sink in at 13. It sank in about 28, when I was about 28 years old. And then I decided to try it. Because I didn't believe in it enough when I was younger. I'm like, yeah, whatever. And my friends were doing their thing. I wanted to go with them, and so we shared that reality. But once I started doing this, my companies came. The first one, second company, third company. I didn't know how to do my first company. I just said, okay, we're going to do this. The how is always God's job. You don't have to know how. You just have to take the steps, baby steps, and you learn as you go. I had this guy, like I say this every once in a while. Hi, Toomey. Good morning, Toomey. How you doing, baby? And I say this once in a while, right? When I started my consultant firm in 2010, that was my third company. It's a thing. You can look it up. You can see all of our work online. VMAC Consultants, VMAC Consultants, VMACconsultants.com. You can go to the website. It's there. It's a thing. When I started that company in 2010, I sat down at McDonald's with this guy who was an MBA. He had a master's in business. And we were sitting down, and I told him my business plan, and he said, it doesn't work that way. And so I questioned him, and I kept asking questions because I wanted to learn something. And everything he told me was like Charlie Brown's teacher, was like, wah, 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 wah. Because it didn't resonate with me. And it didn't resonate with me because I'm like, no, I don't want to do it that way. That's not what I'm doing. That's not what I want to do, right? So I did it my way. But I trusted in my higher self, or God, or Jesus Christ. However, I'm not here to tell you what to believe. You believe what you want. I believe in God. So I trusted in God, and I was like, no, I'm going to do it my way, because I knew that I had this idea that I could do it my way. And guess what? It worked. My first client was a national retailer. National retailer. We were tested by fire. There were strikers on their sidewalk. And my job was to get them off, and it took 3 years. It took 3 years to do a lot of political things, to do a lot of maneuvering, to do a lot of public relations for the stores, for all the stores, every store in Hawaii. There was a bunch of them. And we built stores. We opened brand new stores. It's all on Facebook and Instagram. If you go on VMAC Consultants, Facebook, Instagram, you can see it all. But that's not the point. I'm not here to flex or anything like that. I'm here to say that I didn't have to know how. Okay? Because at every step along the way, intuitive thought came, right? The doors open. When you take the steps, the doors open. And luckily, I was teaching at my other business, my singing school at the time. And I was doing the vocal exercises with the kids, and adults, everybody. And that kept me grounded, and that pulled me out of the societal hypnosis and kept me out. I mean, I was already out, but it kept me out. So maintenance is important, but it's not really necessary, because all you need to do is see the truth. Okay, Jesus Christ said, right? You'll see the truth. And now you'll know the truth. First, you have to see it. Okay, first you have to see the difference. So you go, oh, okay, I got pulled out of it. Okay, now I see it. Now I see the system. Now I see how it works. For example, there's a lot of doctors that, don't come to terms with the fact that they're just treating people. They're not curing people. They treat them. And they go through the cycles, and most of them get complications, more medicine, and then pretty soon they die. Oh, we did all we could for them. Okay, I'm not here to talk conspiracy or anything, but I'm just saying, okay, in our society, in this consumer-based capitalism, it's not always in the best interest to cure things. I like to cure things. When people come in, we don't make any medical claims, but what we say is, if you come and we heal you, and you don't have anxiety, you don't have the stress levels, or the stress levels are manageable now, they're not out of control anymore, and you don't have all these negative emotions, and you're not feeling guilty about stuff, you're not feeling shameful about anything, now you have self-confidence, we call that cured. Does it happen again? Sure, if you let it. But once you see the truth, you know how to safeguard against it. Okay? You learn how to say no to people instead of being a people pleaser. You learn how to stand up for yourself. That is the truth. Thank you, Shiva. Thank you, Shiva. See? And when you see the truth, you don't want to go back. You don't want to go back to the system. The system will chew you up and spit you out. I mean, there's many systems, okay? I'm just saying. Because it's not of this, okay? It's not of spirit. It's not of source. It's not of whatever you call that, okay? If you want to call it spirit, you want to call that energy, okay? It's man-made, okay? There's man-made, there's God-made. Man made everything you see out here. Man made the system. Man made the transportation. Man made the businesses. Man made the corporations. Man made. It's like that. Okay, but when you start to separate the two, and you go, oh, spiritual, physical, God made, man made. The faith has to be in the spiritual. Your faith has to be in you, in here. This is where God lives, in here. The kingdom is within. It's the title of my new book. And when you believe in that, when you keep your faith in that, it doesn't matter what happens out here. It does not matter what happens out there. And you're totally good in here. Why? Because you don't split your focus. Split your focus? What is that? Okay, you know how sometimes you go, oh, wow, I got these blessings, right? Oh, God was good. God blessed me with this. I got blessed with that, right? And then something happens, you go, oh, that was a coincidence. You can't have that kind of dichotomy. You can't serve two masters. You cannot have that too. Okay? Either everything is all God and God brings everything, and everything good that happens, right, is that way, or everything is the system. Oh, it was because I put my money in the bank, and then, whatever. I put my money in the stock market, and, well, okay, you put your faith over there, okay. Oh, I put my money in put my faith in the corporation. Oh, corporation kept you employed. Corporation gave you retirement. Okay, that's all a man-made system. All of that is superseded by your spirit. Okay, but most people just see themselves as a meat suit walking around on the planet. and they follow everything. They're directed. They're directed and influenced to follow. And I'm not talking about social media influencers. I'm talking about big media. I'm talking about politicians. I'm talking about government systems. I'm talking about all those things. Everybody gets conditioned at some point, especially when you're young and you grow up. I always deal with guys that get into problems with women because they believe the Prince Charming thing. They want to ride in on their white horse and, put her on a pedestal and all that crazy stuff, And then women actually hire me. I've been hired on several occasions. Oh, can you work with my husband? My husband needs to learn this. And what they're really telling me is, my husband needs to learn to be a leader. My husband needs to learn to, like that. And I'm like, oh, okay, I get it. And I gladly do it. Why? Because it's for the best of that relationship. Because women need leaders. At a point where a woman's going to do that, she's ready to leave. She's seriously thinking, like, is this the thing? Like, really? Okay? And here's the thing about that or anything else, in a relationship, in a job, okay, in any situation, when you start fearing, like in a relationship, oh man, she's going to leave me. And you start worrying that the girl's going to leave you, guys, okay? You're worried, oh yeah, she's going to leave me. Guess what happens? Your subconscious, when it gets to the belief level in the subconscious, your subconscious starts having you perform actions conducive to her leaving you. Conducive means, that the actions match the kinds of things that would make her leave you. And you start doing these things unconsciously. Why? Because it's your subconscious. It's not your conscious mind. 95% of your life is subconscious. So a lot of people walk around in a dream world their whole life. Why? Because they're on automatic pilot. TV commercials program them. Radio commercials program them. Social media influencers program them. College professors program them. And I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying they're programmed. 95% of life is automatic. And then you have all of these different personalities. Everybody has different characteristics. Why? Because everybody interprets the information differently. But then they all fall into these habits, whatever it is that they've been subjected to. This is my client, Sarah. She goes, since my eyes have been open, I feel wrapped in clarity, safety, and so joyful to finally see the light. Yeah, so Sarah sees the light. See, but many people cannot see the light. Some people are having a happy life. Some people are having a good life. It's not about happy or sad or like that. It's not about that. It's about being your own person or not. It's about, are you going to be your own person, or are you being led into this belief to join everybody else in this, right, mass formation psychosis, which that's only an extreme. So mass formation psychosis was like the pandemic, where they project fear onto everybody and they make everybody believe something in masses, okay? But there's different levels of that, okay? And there's different levels of belief. Whether you believe in God or you don't believe in God, either way, you're still a believer because you're a human. A belief is a thought you keep thinking. If the media can make you keep thinking something, pretty soon you believe it. Okay, if the television can make you believe things, whether it's a program, I mean, they put things in programs. That's why they call it a program. Okay, television programming. Okay, it programs you. Why? Because you're a human being. You're susceptible. Is it a bad thing? No, it just depends on what you're putting in there. It just depends on what you're absorbing. What's your diet? What are you watching? What kind of video games are you playing? Are you becoming violent? Oh, maybe it's a video game. Check what kind of game you're playing. I experimented with all of these things. Okay. And when I was playing Grand Theft Auto, I started to feel like Grand Theft Auto. Okay. I didn't steal any cars, but I'm just saying. Okay. It affects you here in your subconscious. The prison is here. Okay. When you get bound to something, it's not a demon, although there is dark energy, but it's not a demon holding you back. It's your subconscious. And if you don't take the effort that it takes to change it, which is a few minutes a day, 66 days minimum, to establish a firm pattern in your subconscious. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. Write that for 66 days. Can you do it without missing 66 days? Do it faithfully. Speak it out loud every evening when you go to sleep, so that when you're sleeping, your subconscious thinks about it all night long. Your subconscious thinks about the last thing you say all night long. That's why sometimes before you go to sleep, you're talking about something, you go to sleep, you dream about it. This is why they say don't go to bed angry, okay? Because you can wake up angry. You wake up not feeling good, like something's bothering, like something's irritating you. You feel kind of funny. You don't feel as good, okay? That's why. Oh, yeah. Thank you, Jay. So, okay, so the voice breaks you free of the conditioning. And pretty soon, all the fear goes away, the anxiety goes away. Then what? Then you're clear. We call that clarity. When you're clear. Why? Because, well, it's the absence of worry. It's the absence of anxiety. It's the absence of guilt. It's the absence of shame. Fear cannot live where confidence is, and vice versa. Okay. Is that how prayer works? Prayer works that way too. Yeah. So prayer is asking. The ask, believe, receive process. Prayer is asking. Meditation is listening. But yeah, it does work that way. I'm gonna see you pretty soon. So that she's my client as well. So Dakota is my client. I'm gonna see her right after the live. She's in Denver, Colorado. I have clients all over the world. I have clients in the United Kingdom. Sarah on here is from the United Kingdom. You have what? Helma? I don't understand, Bill. Write it out for me again, please. So through your voice, what happens is it frees you from this, because it gets rid of all the negative emotions. Confidence is not about adding stuff to you. It's about taking away the stuff that bothers you. It's about clearing out the negative emotions. You were born confident. There's no problem with that. Okay? Breathing is also important. Why is it important? Well, because your diaphragm moves in rhythm. Okay? When your breath is in rhythm, in slow rhythm. That's why when you do yoga or you do things like that, they say, focus on your breath. Okay, because it affects your vagus nerve. It stimulates your vagus nerve. You have 12 cranial nerves, okay? Cranial, here, your head, okay? 12 cranial nerves. One of them, the vagus nerve, comes down, it goes through your throat, okay? And your voice activates that. It stimulates it. It goes through the throat and goes right down here into the heart. And why is the vagus nerve important? Because when you activate the vagus nerve, and you do this through the voice, okay, when you activate the vagus nerve, it starts to relax you, it starts to calm you, okay? When you start to stimulate these are called hormones, oxytocin and endorphins, okay? Neurotransmitters, it's a big word. Neurotransmitters are what fires the oxytocin and the endorphins, okay? So think of it as a cannon, and think of oxytocin and endorphins as the cannonball, okay, or cannonballs. And it starts firing these things. okay, these hormones. Now it creates this hormonal soup in your brain. And now your brain starts to calm, it starts to settle down. The vagus nerve is also activated. Now the vagus nerve it goes through your throat and to your heart. Okay, so first your throat chakra opens. In other words, when people first come to me, sometimes they have a hard time to push out with a lot of volume. Sometimes they have a hard time just to get their voice out, period. Okay, that's a confidence issue. Okay, if you stay like this for too long, right, you don't feel like coming out of your body. You don't feel like you're bringing your voice out. Okay, sometimes you feel shame, sometimes you like that. Okay, but what happens is after a while, after your throat chakra opens, your heart chakra is the next one to open. The heart chakra takes a little bit longer. The throat chakra opens in about 2 months. And this is 1 hour a week. So you're talking 8 sessions. 8 sessions. And it gets stronger and stronger every week because we do physical exercises to develop your diaphragm, number one, and the pharyngeal group. Okay, so the pharyngeal group are these muscles. Those muscles. When you squeeze like that, like that, those are the pharyngeals. We have an exercise that works those muscles. When those muscles get more elasticity to them, or let's say more flexible, they fire more oxytocin and endorphins. Why? Because they can control the air better. So the diaphragm pushes the air up. These muscles grab the air, okay, process the air, also makes the air last longer. Okay, so for singing, it's ideal because for singing, you can hold your notes longer. When these muscles are conditioned, those muscles, your voice sounds better. For singers. For speakers, why is it important for speaking? Oh, it's important for public speaking because then you can breathe less. Okay, you can extend your sentences. In singing, you can extend your phrases. So they're called sentences when you're writing or speaking. They're called phrases when you sing. Just different labels for the same process. But when you get stronger and stronger, by the third session, the third 1 hour session, you feel it and you go, wow. I had a psychiatrist whose job is the brain, right? That's what he was trained to do. And on the 4th session, I said, well, doc, what do you think? And he said, I can't put my finger on it, but wow, yeah, I feel it. I don't know what it is, but I feel it. You know what he was feeling? He was feeling clarity. Okay, he's such a busy guy, right? He's busy into the system. He's cemented into the system. Why? Because that's what he does. Okay, somebody who drives a cement truck, that's what they do. Every day, get up, right? And they run that program. But when you get pulled out of the program, does that mean you can't run the program anymore? No. That just means you're aware that it's a program. With awareness, you can separate everything. Everything's observable. And when you separate things, you go, oh, okay, this is like that, this one like, whatever. It's just not one big mess. Overthinking goes away. It slows down first, okay? It slows down during the first month. And then you start to relax internally. And that's what this is for internal relaxation. So affirmations, meditation, vocalization we're talking about today, vocalization, and visualization. So when you add the other 3 pillars to the vocalization, you complete the picture. Because if you do affirmations, meditation, vocalization, and visualization aimed at any one thing, it has to happen. Okay? And this is because of perception. This is the glass half full, the glass half empty kind of thing that you hear about. Okay, but it has to happen. Now, how it's going to happen is God's job. The how is always God's job. You don't know how it's going to happen. All you have to do is have faith and do the affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. Why the affirmation? Because you have to write it into your subconscious. I am so happy and grateful now that I'm confident. Thank you. There you go. Now speak it out loud right before you go to bed, right before you turn the lights off. Keep your tablet on your bedside, pick it up before you turn off the light and read it out loud. That's going to stay in your subconscious all night. Okay? And your subconscious recognizes your voice over everybody else. It favors your voice over everybody else. Right now, my subconscious doesn't know if I'm speaking this to me or to you. It doesn't know. So this works for me too. And this is why you always get what you give. What you do, what you say, what you think, always falls back on you. Okay, I don't want to make it seem negative, like falls back on you, but it comes back. Okay, so if you're angry with someone, guess what goes into your subconscious? Angry energy, angry emotion. Does that make you feel good or bad? It makes you feel bad. If you're always angry, if your subconscious starts to program you for anger and you always get triggered or you're easily triggered, your voice can pull you out of it. But if you stay like that, guess what happens? Low self-esteem. You start to withdraw. You start to kind of go like this. You start to go like this, go like this. Over a long period of time, you're like this now. Okay? And the voice gets rid of this. It starts to have you relax, 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 open. It's because we're sensitive beings. It's because we're so intelligent. It's because we can become highly aware of our surroundings. Highly aware. Not just aware, keenly aware. We can see synchronicities. Synchronicities, when you talk about something and then you see it play out. Or you're standing on the street corner, you're talking about a steak dinner that you're going to go to on the weekend, and the meat truck drives by, and you go, whoa, I was just talking about steak. There's a meat truck. See, when you're in the store and you're just thinking about something, or you said something in the car, and then you walk in the store and you hear somebody in the store talk about it, and you go, hey, I was just saying that in the car, or I was just thinking about that in the car, or whatever. Those are synchronicities. Okay? But when you're numb, when you're in the program, in the system, in the physical world, sometimes you're too busy to notice. Okay? So the people that are more keenly aware, or, have a greater sense of awareness, women have a huge sense of awareness because they raise children. They have to be. Okay? They have to be. And this is why men appear to not get it. That's not always the case, okay? But women are sharper. They're better thinkers. They have bigger processors. They have larger frontal lobes, okay? Don't try to do an emotional spar with a woman, okay? If you're a guy, and it's you're not going to win. You're just not going to win. Thank you, Bill. Thank you for liking the live. But women are highly, acutely aware for a reason, because they have to be mama bears, or they're designed to be mama bears. Okay, so women can be very, very good allies for you, men. Very good allies. Okay, instead of hanging around the guys and playing video games all day, go hang around the girls. Hang with the girls. You do your things, but have them hang with you. I do that all the time. You learn a lot, okay? You don't just learn about like facts, that kind of stuff. You don't just learn about that. You learn about how it is to be intuitive, okay? Women are very intuitive, okay? They have a feeling something's gonna happen, right? And then it happens. How does that work? You could take a woman in a Starbucks and she could tell you where the creep is. She could point them out really quick, very quick. She'd just look around the room and she, oh, you know that guy in the corner, he's creepy, right? Because they can sense these things. They have to. They have children. They give birth to children. Okay. But intentional vocalization through the voice separates you from this societal hypnosis. And there is a societal hypnosis. And you're not really, I mean, sometimes you can even see it too, right? So sometimes you see the agendas online, or the politics sometimes, or government stuff sometimes, or whatever it is, whatever there is, right? You see that. And then sometimes you follow an influencer and they explain it to you and they show you. And people go, oh, well, that's a conspiracy. It's part of the conditioning. They want to make you think a certain way. They want to make you think about a certain thing. And when they do this, they're leading you. Okay? So use discernment. Use discernment. Try as much as you can to pull yourself out of the box so you can look back into the box and see it for what it is. My executives do this. I pull them out of the box with their voice. And after they do their voice for a while, they go, yeah, my awareness increased. Now I understand certain things. Like it just kind of explains itself to me. But they can't see it in the beginning because they're too busy. They have too many things to do. Their attention is split in too many areas. And when you keep somebody really, really, really busy, or if you keep somebody in fear, you can control them. And look at how much of society is controlled by narratives, all kinds of narratives. All kinds of narratives. Okay. So the last thing I'm going to tell you about the voice is that this isn't, if you're thinking about, wow, this sounds really good, I want to experience this, I want to do this, it's not just for singers, okay? I have a separate company that takes singers, but they only get the vocalization process. That's all they get. On the life coaching side, in the life coaching company, it's Here For You Life Coaching and Voicemaster Vocal Development. They're two separate companies. But on Here For You Life Coaching, they get affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization. What we normally do is give people the first month, just really focus on vocalization. And we add in all the others. Okay, so the affirmations, meditation, vocalization, visualization, make sure they're all good with those things. And then it's just maintenance. It's just like a half hour. Sometimes it's an hour, depending on the individual and what they need. Moving forward from that, it's just half hour of voice maintenance. And you only need to do it for 3 months. After 3 months, you're good. Okay. But that being said, some of my clients are with me for 3 and 4 years. Okay. But anyway, we have made, we only have a special for you guys because I only have so many openings on my calendar. Okay. We're going to think up specials for other social media outlets, but right now only for you guys over here. Sorry, we have seven platforms right now every morning. So yeah. Anyway, let's. I have to get to clients, and I have to see So Dakota. She's my first client today, so in a couple of minutes. But anyway, so thank you, and join us again tomorrow. We're here on 7 platforms, 7 at 7. Okay, 7 days a week. 7 platforms for you guys. So we'd like to say mahalo that means thank you, and aloha